So, yesterday it was confirmed by Spider-Man No Way Home producer Amy Pascal that there is around, I think it's 3 or 4 Spider-Man movies that will be in the are in the making at the moment, or they're planning to make in the future after obviously No Way Home. Now, this is incredible news for us Marvel fans. Obviously, this is just basically the beginning of Spider-Man for us, obviously, because we know that he might turn into the next Tony Stark in the MCU, obviously the main focus point going forward in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So yeah, it's going to be good fun to see Spider-Man evolve and see how his character develops in the rest of the MCU, obviously after No Way Home, obviously, as we don't know what's going to happen in No Way Home yet, so we don't know what's going to happen obviously after the events of No Way Home. We don't know what kind of films they are thinking of making. Obviously, there is many films they could make. Obviously, the possibilities now with the Sonyverse, the multiverse opening, and obviously combining with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it would be cool to see. Obviously, with the likes of Morbius getting his own film in January, Venom, obviously, as we saw in the post-credits scene, Let There Be Carnage, that he got transported to the the MCU, but there is reports going around the post-credit scene. If you don't want to know about the post-credit scene, then don't watch this. But the post-credit scene, No Way Home, apparently it is Venom, and he does get teleported back to the Sonyverse. Which, if that does happen, then it's going to be very annoying. But apparently, a bit of the symbiote does get left in the MCU, which obviously means that could develop into Spider-Man 4 with the symbiote suit, which could be very awesome to see in the MCU with the symbiote suit attaching to Tom Holland. Obviously, I would like to see the Amazing Spider-Man 3 with like I said, a symbiote. Obviously, if they're getting transported back to the Sonyverse, then that could open possibilities of Amazing Spider-Man 3 with the symbiote. Obviously, it would be perfect to see Peter Parker and Andrew Garfield, obviously with the symbiote after everything he's offered. Obviously, he lost Gwen, his Uncle Ben, obviously his parents, his dad came back, but his mum's gone as well. So, it would be perfect, the symbiote linking with Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker. I think it would suit perfectly. But, I don't know, there's the amount of films that they could, the ideas there is probably in the works. Obviously, Venom joining Spider-Man, Kraven the Hunter. Obviously, there's so many more possibilities they could do. Obviously, apparently there's reports going around that the Rhino and Sandman are getting their own spin-off movies after this, so that would be cool to see. So maybe that confirms that Sandman won't die, but I think it might be an origin story maybe. I'm not too sure yet. I don't know if it's even linked to the MCU or maybe it's just a side kind of film. But other than that, I'm very excited for the future of Spider-Man and the MCU. Obviously, if they're already planning about around 3 or 4 movies for Spider-Man, then it probably does mean that he is going to be the main focus point going forward in the MCU now. Obviously, with the likes of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield still in the MCU, getting their debut in the MCU in No Way Home. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with them yet. Obviously, if they're going to die, obviously I hope not. I want to see Andrew Garfield be in Amazing Spider-Man 3, because that film has so many potential ideas as well. Obviously, with Into the Spider-Verse coming out, or the second Into the Spider-Verse coming out soon, there's also possibilities with that film. I see Miles Morales as well. I'd like to see a Spider-Man film in the future with Miles Morales in it. I think that would be very cool to see. Obviously, maybe Spider-Man 4. Obviously, it was confirmed not yesterday that Spider-Man 4 is in the works, which is very cool to hear. Obviously, as we haven't obviously seen No Way Home yet, but it is hype that we get to hear about Spider-Man 4 in the works at Marvel or whatever. So yeah, it's very cool to know these films are in the making at Marvel, and that it's going to be a bright future. Like Tom Holland said, it's a bright future for the character and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As we know, it's going to be a hell of a ride these next few years in the MCU, longer than a few years in the MCU, obviously with the multiverse, and we're going to see and deep dive into the multiverse a bit more in No Way Home, as we see in the trailer. So if you enjoyed this video today, please like and subscribe, and tell us what Spider-Man movies you want to see out of these 4 that were confirmed by No Way Home producer Amy Pascal. Tell us that down below. If you did enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. I hope you had a good day, and goodbye.